NAT Quarter 2 2025 earnings report. Nordic American Tankers Limited, NAT. Man, so this has been in my dividend portfolio for over a year, and I've been so excited about this company. It's old school, it's oil tankers, and a lot of people talk about the oil tanker industry as risky, cyclical, out of favor, dying, all these things, all these negative things on why, in 2025, going into 2026, no one should be investing in oil tanker companies. ESG, clean energy, EVs, all this noise. But at the end of the day, the people who follow the markets, who understand mechanisms within business and understand that business takes a long time to manifest out for different catalysts within the grander world, you'll understand that NAT, Nordic American Tanker, is still top of class, I feel like, in the dividend world and people looking for special situations. And we're going to go into it, why I believe so. Just to start off, right now I have 610 shares. Now I'll add at the date of this video, September 30th, we should be getting paid our dividend payout here shortly. So my share count should be going up. I think I should be getting around like $40 to $60 for my dividends that I do have on drip to go right back into my share count for the company. So that's exciting. I've been growing my position. It should be over $2,000 hopefully after that payout. So there's a couple of things before we actually read. Actually, you know what? We're gonna actually read the earnings report first, and we'll go back to this. So we'll read the earnings report first, okay? So let's go over there and read, because Herb, he's cooking right now. Herb's cooking. So first, let's just read it. Nordic American Tankers Limited, NAT report as of June 30th, 2025. NAT increases its dividend in a solid market. Thursday, August 28th, 2025. 90-day periods offer a short-term snapshot of a company. However, a meaningful analyst must contain a bigger, longer-term picture. The direction of NAT is unquestionably upward, and we create room for profitable growth. I love hearing that. Whatever we do, the quality of our ships and dividend remain a priority, which is a priority to me. The dividend and remaining and keeping your product, our tankers, in shape. Highlights. The dividend for the second quarter is 10 cents per share. This is our 112th consecutive quarterly cash dividend. The dividend is payable September 29th, 2025. So I should be getting that into my account today. The 29th was yesterday. To shareholders on record as of September 12th, 2025. During the second quarter of 2025, there were several one-time effects which reduced available trading days and therefore income. The reason was that several of our vessels were scheduled dry dock. Our recent acquisitions, the 2016 built Nordic Galaxy and Nordic Moon, entered our fleet during the second quarter, and the 2004 built Nordic Castor was delivered to new owners during the same quarter. Entering the latter part of the year, the NAT fleet consists of 20 well-maintained Suezmax tankers. They are 100% Suezmax tanker company. We are optimistic for our tankers going forward. There is a strong demand for oil. Many observers underestimate the need for energy, in particular emerging economies. In addition, we see geopolitical developments that could make more oil volumes available for the NAT fleet. The average time charter equivalent for the NAT time charter and spot fleet for the second quarter of 2025 came in at $26,880 per ship. This produced an adjusted EBITDA of $15.8 million for the second quarter, including the sale of Nordic Castor, we recorded a net loss of 0.9 million, so 0.9 million for the quarter, so 900,000. Our cash position as of August 28th is 86 million. The top quality of the NAT vessels is proven by the vetting performance undertaken by the major oil companies. These companies employ about 50% of the NAT fleet. NAT has not carried Russian oil for more than 3.5 years. Thanks to careful voyage planning and adjustment of speed, we reduce emissions of our vessels. Sincerely, Herbjørn Hansson, founder, chairman, CEO, Nordic American Tankers. So that's a good little brief. Now let's get into it. Our fleet. As of June 30th, 2025, our fleet consisted of 20 well-maintained Suezmax tankers with cargo lifting capacity of 1 million barrels each of oil each. We only have Suezmaxes in our fleet, and the vast majority of our ships are built in South Korea. We take extra care to maintain our vessels to the highest standards for the safety of crew, cargo, and the environment. The outcome of the inspections of our ships by oil companies vetting reflects the good quality and maintenance of our fleet. NAT has one of the largest fleets of Suezmax tankers in the world. In a capital-intensive industry like ours, careful maintenance of our ships and the timing and financing of expansion are key elements to ensure both our financial stability and our commitment to paying cash dividends. Results for the second quarter of 2025. The second quarter of 2025 saw fleet adjustments impacting our available trading days and affecting our net income negatively. The primary reason being a busy scheduled dry docking program, as well as vessels leaving and entering our fleet during the quarter. The second quarter of 2025 produced a net loss of negative 900,000 compared to the first quarter of a net profit of 4.2 million. The net income included a book profit of sale of Nordic Castor of 7.1 million compared to a book profit of the sale of Nordic Apollo of 9.5 million in the first quarter. The adjusted EBITDA for the second quarter came in to 15.8 million, a slight improvement from the first quarter of 14.9 adjusted EBITDA. Our financing and refinancing activities this year have all been done at improved terms, but with increased leverage, interest costs, and increased by about 1.9 million in the second quarter. The average time charter equivalent TCE for our fleet during the second quarter of 2025 came in at $26,880 per day per vessel versus $24,714 per day for the first quarter of 2025. These numbers are on a discharge basis. We currently have 14 of our 20 vessels in the spot market. For detailed information of our statement, operations, P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, reconciliation, and non-GAAP financial measures, refer to page 5-6 of this press release. Just the financing. Obviously, we have to finance ships. Let's see. Yeah, let's just read it all. Whatever. Financing. Our net debt total liabilities less current assets stood at 321.4 million, which equals 16.1 million per ship based on 20 vessels as of June 30th, 2025. The details of our two financing arrangements are as follows. 150 million 5-year senior secured credit agreement with CLMG Beal Bank dated 6th of February 2025 has a total outstanding balance of 146.9 million as of June 30th, 2025, including current portion of debt. The loan is secured in 7 of our Suezmax tankers. The 8 vessels financed through Ocean Yield had, as of June 30, 2025, a total outstanding balance of 299.4 million, including current portion of debt. During the second quarter, we've refinanced and increased the loan amount on the 3 2018 built vessels through Ocean Yield, as well as financed 50% of the purchase price with Ocean Yield of the Nordic Moon and Nordic Galaxy acquisitions. The remaining 5 of our 20 Suezmax tankers are debt-free and unencumbered. That's nice. As of June 30th, 2025, the current portion of the long-term debt was $35.4 million net of transaction costs. $28 million was related to ocean yield financing, and $7.4 million was related to Beal CLMG financing. We have not utilized any ATM offerings in 2025. For the second quarter 2025, the cash dividend is 10 cents, been declared 112th quarterly dividend, and it's going to be paid out 29th, which I should be getting in my account soon. World economy and the tanker market. There is no shortage of geopolitical uncertainty, but we continue to see high demand for oil and oil transportation, especially for emerging economies that continue to have energy consumption per capita that is significantly lower than the OECD countries. Should the geopolitical tensions ease, more oil volume should become available in our market, and the continued increased production of OPEC members is an important trend that is very favorable for the tanker market going forward. These are interesting dynamics for the NAT oil tankers. Seasonal variations will occur, but as we've seen so far, these last years, the trend supports future earnings at higher levels than in the past. NAT in particular stands to benefit from the fact that the supply of Suezmax tankers is not historically excessive. Environmental regulations increase steel and production costs, and higher interest rates make investing in new ships quite challenging. The world Suezmax fleet, excluding shuttle, product, and Jones Act tankers, counted 594 vessels as of June 30th, 2025. The ordering activity in the second quarter of 2025 increased, and the order book for new Suezmax tankers now stands at 108 vessels to be delivered over the next 4 years. This is 18% of the existing world fleet for Suezmax tankers. To put this in perspective, before the end of 2027, there are now 167 conventional Suezmax tankers that will turn 20 years of age or older. In the same period, only 90 new vessels will be delivered into the world Suezmax fleet. The world Suezmax fleet will see 13 new vessels added to the fleet for the rest of 2025, 36 in 2026, 41 in 2027, and 18 new build orders are booked for 2028. The available shipyard capacity for large oil tankers is low, leaving limited capacity to build additional Suezmax tankers with quality yards on this side of 2027. This is all good stuff. All above is good news for the short-term and long-term outlook for our tankers. It is anticipated that the tanker markets will continue to be strong in the coming years. The supply of tanker tonnage is inelastic in the short term. When there are too many ships in the area, rates tend to go down. When there is scarcity of ships, rates tend to go up. Short-term spot tanker rates may be expected to be volatile. And then corporate governance, obviously, conflict of interest. You want to be moral. I kind of like Herb. You know, he's very transparent. It doesn't seem like he's trying to corrupt anybody. It's a family-owned business. His son, Alexander, has continued to buy shares, just like as he's continued to buy shares. And I think they're doing a good job. Strategy going forward. The NAT strategy is built on expanding and maintaining a homogeneous and top quality fleet, leveraging on our industry network and close customer relationships with major oil companies and oil traders. We are a dividend company with the objective of having a strong balance sheet and low G&A costs, enable us to distribute free cash flows to our shareholders. In an improved market, higher dividends can be expected. Our fleet of 20 or more or less identical vessels is a special feature of NAT that is particularly valuable to our customers. NAT is firmly committed to protecting its underlying earnings and dividend potential. We shall safeguard and further strengthen this position in a deliberate, predictable, and transparent way. And then if you keep going, you can just go through their numbers. So that's essentially what that press release was. Obviously, Herb always does a good job on those. I love reading those from Herb. Get back to this tab, and we'll go over some of the key points I want to talk about. Right. I love Herb. He's a good CEO. And so in regards to what I have, so it's September. So that dropped late August, right? And so we're a month now later past that. And a lot of things has happened, right? And so first I want to talk about the TC time charter rate for Suezmaxes. So you can go to Fearnleys online. Fearnleys, just type in Fearnleys oil tankers, and you can see something very crazy, right? So look at this, right? So if you go to Fearnleys, this has been the 2025 time charter rates for the Suezmax. And it's going back all the way to 2024. So October 2024, it was at 40,000, and it was doing really well. Then we hit December 2024. Then we hit January. Things started getting volatile. Dropped, rose, dropped, and then we started seeing some stability in the 38, I would say the 34 to 38 range, as you see here, for the whole year, essentially. And then we drop even further. And then now look what's happened. Right after the earnings report on August 28th, start of September, what happens? The time charter rates moonshots, literally moonshots to 42, right? So quarter three earnings for NAT should be really good, because hopefully we don't have more tankers dry docked right now, and it doesn't seem like they're buying and selling a whole lot of ships like they were earlier on. So we should really be a beneficiary of this increase. Like, this is higher. This is like 43. So this is like $3,000 higher than what it was in October 2024. And so this is major. This is big time stuff. That's big time stuff, and that goes straight to the revenue, right? So that's awesome. So I'm gonna get to this second. So on Monday, September 22nd, so last week, Nordic American Tankers Vice Chairman Herbjørn Hansson, the son of Herb, buys more NAT shares, bringing the Hansson family holding above 10 million shares. He bought at $3.27. As you know, been following the stock, it was under $3 around the earnings time, and then it shot up to almost $3.30 afterwards. And I can see why, if the time charter rates getting pretty crazy. So Alex holds 5.1 million shares, and the total holdings for the company is 10.1. So it's like half and half with Alex and Herb. And I want to bring up a little bit of gematria. Herb equals 33 in English ordinal, so that's energetic. The nice to see for the CEO. And so another really key point I want to bring up is that they brought on board this new person, right? Thomas Boye. And so on the article, September 2nd, 2025, Nordic American Tankers, growing our company and raising our profile. This is what Herb has to say. Dear shareholders and investors, it is my pleasure to announce that Mr. Thomas Boye, 43 years old, will be joining Nordic American Tankers. Thomas has worked for the international investment banking firm ABG Sundal Collier for the past 20 years. He worked in London for 10 years, and the last 10 years in Oslo, Norway. We expect that he will join NAT in October this year, which hopefully he joins this upcoming month in October. NAT has an excellent story to tell investors, and we plan to launch a series of road shows to bring that story to markets worldwide. Wow. So think about this, right? An oil tanker company, out of date, not in favor, old CEO, family owned, they're going against the grain now. They're bringing somebody in, Thomas Boye, 43 years old, and you can see his photo right here, looking pretty young, fresh face. He has a lot of experience, and they have an excellent story to tell investors, and they plan to launch a series of road shows to bring that story to markets worldwide. What can that mean? Well, first, let's bring in who Thomas Boye is and his experience. Thomas Boye has extensive work experience in various roles, and you can just Google this online. He was the partner head of U.S. equity sales at ABG Sundal Collier, right? Thomas started his career in 1998 as a commercial sales specialist at Gravvigs AS, and worked there in 2000 until 2000. In 2002, He served as a second lieutenant in the Norwegian Armed Forces for a short period. From 2003 to 2020, Thomas worked at ABG Sundal Collier, initially as a settlement officer, then as a partner and head of U.S. equity sales. Thomas Boye attended Oslo, seems like that's the university, from 97 to 2000, then pursued a Master's of Science degree in finance at the by Norwegian Business School from 2002 to 2006. So, couple things. Partner and head of U.S. equity sales. So he has experience with U.S. equities already. He also was in commercial sales specialist. And so when you talk about sales, you're talking about buying and selling stocks, essentially. But you do it on an institutional basis, which has some benefits as better rates and better pricing. He also served in the military for about a year, which I think might be standard for a lot of Nordic Scandinavian countries, but it's still good to have that military experience and serve your nation. And then he worked as a settlement officer, and he's been in this role for a long time. And so there's a lot of things popping up. So you have to think Herb's getting older. Alexander is a vice chairman, but he's not really working on an operational level with NAT. Like, he's not being groomed to be CEO. So Herb kind of has to find the next heir for this company. Who's going to be the suitor for this company after Herb retires? You definitely want a fresher face. Definitely want somebody younger, probably younger than your son, right? And you want somebody with equity experience. And I think Thomas kind of fills this role. There's not a whole lot of information on him online, like videos and stuff. But, with that fresh face, going on the road, you're a salesperson. Could they potentially be looking to sell Nordic American Tankers at some point? I think that's a possibility. As we've talked about, oil is not going anywhere. Demand is continuing to rise for oil. Even with electricity playing a role, there's still emerging markets, India, China, Africa, that are still using oil a lot. And they're not going to be going over to a full electric grid anytime soon, like a developed nation like America or somewhere in Europe will be doing. So I think a sale could be on the table. And I should have put in here, NAT is going to be doing annual general shareholders meeting on November 21st of this year. And so I'm excited to see what's going to be on the proxy for that, and maybe a potential opening for a sale of the stock could be on the docket for that shareholder meeting. But just to finish up with some gematria, NAT gets bought in 2026 as 133 in English reduction. Cast off the 1, that's 33, the parent number rule. So that's something to consider. And I also have company's military experience, leader with military background, that they both equal 137 in reduction. That's the 33rd prime, which is important. I do invest in companies. I do look at that. If a leader of one of my companies has previous military experience, I think that's a positive sign. Not only because it's a service to the nation, but you learn a lot of different things about leadership, being around people, having to handle different personalities, but also focusing up on one common goal. And so I love military CEOs. I think they do a really good job overall. They don't take a whole lot of crap. They're pretty honest, and they're pretty straightforward from what I've experienced in my time in the markets. So I'm excited. Hopefully Thomas Boye can do something. Hopefully Herb can keep steering this ship like he's been steering, and we continue to grow. Where I'm at right now, my cost per share is $3.24. The stock's trading around $3.10 right now, so we're right in range. for some really positive things going into Q4. If anybody has any questions, comments, make sure you let me know in the comment section. I'll get to them. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. We're trying to grow the channel, and we're trying to do a lot of big things. If you like my stock analyst, make sure you sign up to my Patreon, where you get these newsletters every month, so you can go back and look at these and study how I've succeeded in the markets as well. So there's a lot of great things happening with NAT, and hopefully, if you're invested, you're just continue to stack up those dividends, and we continue to see the TC time charter rates rising.